Hello?
What's your least favorite scary movie?
I don't know about you guys, but I like my teeth right where they are. Welcome to What's Your Least Favorite Scary Movie, the podcast where we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the absurd in all of our favorite
And least favorite.
scary movies.
Because we believe every horror movie rightfully has its fan base.
Even if we don't always get it.
My name is Travis.
My name is Jesse, and welcome to July!
Yeah!
We're starting off July with 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because our schedule got fucked up last month, and we're still trying to catch up right now.
Yep, told you it wouldn't happen again. It happened again.
Yeah.
And it's with the same movie too, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And I'm just going to say, I didn't say it wouldn't happen again.
I
I
probably
didn't
did.
agree to that.
Yeah, and but if it's going to happen to any franchise, I think the Texas Chainsaw one's the right one because it's so disjointed and so confusing. I think that this helps.
Yeah.
You have to embrace the confusion
Yeah, we're
to
just-
really, truly enjoy this franchise.
We're in the zone of it. Speaking of disjointed, confusing, etc., we've got stuff for our budget tier patrons to be aware of. So first of all is that our bonus episode for June should be out by now. We did another playthrough of what's that?
Paranormal Inc.
Paranormal
Mhm.
Inc. Because y'all enjoyed that so much last time, and I was so stressed about it last time, and we haven't recorded it yet, but I'm going to try and convince Travis to record it out in the living room so I don't have to sit in this creepy room and
We can play it on the TV that way.
be freaked out.
Yeah, I'm into that.
And then also, guess what? July's bonus episode is going to be out real quick. Today, as we all know, if you're listening to this on release day, that is Return of the Living Dead Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Takes place July 3rd in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And as our duty as horror fans and Kentuckians, we watch it every year. And we decided this year we're just going to kind of record a commentary track as we go along. So that'll be up soon as well.
Yeah, bonus points if you do that movie on the same day too, because then it's like an extra celebration right there.
Yes, that's assuming that you get it uploaded on the
Oh,
3rd.
I think I can do that. I think we can manage.
I think we
We'll be
somehow
all
will
right.
manage.
We'll be all right.
All right. So if you're listening to this on release day and it's roughly 8:00 at night, check to see if Travis has uploaded it to the Patreon yet. And guess what? You don't just have to be a budget tier patron, although, it's only $1 more than buying either of these bonus episodes.
Yeah,
So,
and you get so much more.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
including the whole sticker deal.
Mhm.
So by now, if you never told me what you wanted for your sticker, too bad. You're getting my pick. You
Oh,
played
boy.
Will of Travis, and Travis chose for you. But those are in the mail by this point, and you should have them by now. If not by now, you'll have them any day now, because I'm
Any
going to
day
send them
now.
out by this day.
Okay.
Yeah, before July. Those are going in the mail.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And budget tier patrons, you should have also already voted. Sorry, we didn't give you as much time to vote. Again,
It's been chaotic.
June. What the fuck was June?
It's been a shit show for us
Yeah.
here in June, so we apologize.
Yes, and we are recording this slightly before the end of June.
Yeah.
It's the 29th. We are going to be making our payment to the Trevor Project here shortly, on July 1st probably. And like we said, everything that we got from the Patreon in the month of June is going to be donated directly to the Trevor Project.
Right. Yeah. So thanks everybody for
Mm-hmm.
sticking with us. But we're here. We're back. We're getting to it. So let's get to it.
All right.
All right. I have our poll from last week's episode, which was Hellraiser 2.
Yes.
And we asked everybody, what was your personal hell? So we had clowns, loose skin, Frank, and daddy issues.
Okay.
8% chose clowns, 42% loose skin, 33% Frank, 17% daddy issues. For me, as much as I love them in horror movies, it's because they're so terrifying to me. So clowns, like
Okay.
if I'm surrounded by clowns, that's going to be terrifying for me. I'm not going to do too well.
Okay. Daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Yeah.
You got company there. Yeah. Hey, it happens. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right. Thanks everybody for
Alright.
participating. Always appreciate it when everybody does that. All right. So we have everything out of the way now. So how's about we stick with Texas Chainsaw 2?
How's
No, not
about
2.
it? No.
The remake. We're doing the remake
2003.
today. 2003.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one is, and Travis still hasn't put together the visual aid that he promised.
I'm going to, okay? Look,
Okay.
there's just so much shit that happens here. So much shit. I gotta do
Okay.
so much shit.
Okay. So this one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If y'all remember, the original, the 1934, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, they found their opportunity to
Yeah,
correct
they're
it.
like,
They're like, we're making this one our own. That's how you know this is going to be different than the original.
This movie premiered October 17th, 2003. We actually have it on DVD. I think we have almost the whole franchise on DVD at this point.
We have except for
Not the
Leatherface.
Netflix. Or we don't have the Netflix one on.
Yeah, we
DVD
don't have
either.
to. Yeah, well, you can't own that one unless you
Yeah.
do bootlegs.
And I just don't care to own Leatherface.
No, I don't either.
And we're not
no.
talking about the third installment. We're talking about what is it, like 2017?
Yeah, the one that came out that's like a prequel. It's one that's going to be talked about in a couple months.
We're doing an unhappy countdown to that one, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not one to normally talk shit about a movie so much leading up to it, but
That
was
one's just,
rough.
that's just, whatever. Let's not linger on that one too long.
we'll get to it. As of this weekend, which it'll be July by the time you guys are listening to this, so this may have changed, may have not. You can rent it on Google Play, Fandango at Home, or Prime. It didn't have any streaming options in June. Maybe that's different in July. I feel like this one comes to streaming pretty regularly. So.
Yeah, July's a great time to watch it too. This is a good summer movie.
It is. It really is. So this was written by Scott Kosar, and of course we also have credit for the 1974 screenplay by Toby Hooper and Kim Hinkle. Directed by Marcus Nispel. Music by Steve Jablonsky, and special effects makeup by Grady Holder and Scott Stoddard. Starring Jessica Biel as Aaron, Jonathan Tucker as Morgan, Erica Learson as Pepper, Mike Vogel as Andy, Eric Balfour as Kemper, Andrew Brynjarski as Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface, and Arlie Ermy as Sheriff Hoyt.
Yeah.
Travis, it's time for our favorite game.
Budget or
Buckhead?
This, I say budget.
Ooh,
It's Buckhead?
just barely.
Oh.
Just our arbitrary 10 mil. I say arbitrary. It's not really that arbitrary. Our $10 million cutoff for Buckhead to budget. This
Yeah.
is 9.5.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I mean, Price is Right rules. You still lose.
Yeah, that's true. Technically, I am incorrect.
And that's the best kind of incorrect. Okay, opening box office, $29 million. Worldwide gross, $107 million. 6.2 out of 10 on
I was
IMDb.
there. I saw that as a child. I remember my dad took me, my sister, and her friend to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. And her sister's friend came late. My dad had to go get her in the middle of the movie. He was not happy about
Oh,
it.
no.
Yeah.
All right, I pulled 3 movies from 2003, and they all have the theme of travel gone bad.
Ooh, good
Yeah,
theme.
Yeah. I'm just glad it didn't have to be all remakes.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
That's a lot of
There's a lot in
2003.
this time. Yeah.
And it, we'll talk about it in a second, but it kind of started with Texas Chainsaw.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So the first movie I have, Dead End.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty good movie. That's one that we always forget about, and then we watch it and we're like, dang, this is a good one. And it's got Lin Shaye in it. So that's something that we can know her from besides the
Insidious
movies.
Is that the one where they're in the van and like it keeps like repeating shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie, but it released September 26, 2003.
Okay.
Budget of $900,000. I don't have a gross because this was one of those like indie type movies.
Probably went straight to DVD.
Yeah. 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay. I remember it being pretty solid. It's been a long time since we've seen
Yeah.
it.
Second movie, Open Water.
Ooh, yeah. Dude, that was a big one at the time. I remember
It
that.
was, and it's a terrifying premise, but also they did kind of like there's a lot to stretch out into a feature length movie.
Yeah, they should have done like 47 meters down where like things just keep happening.
Yeah.
But like right there, they're left all by themselves, and it's just sharks. They have to stay awake and not die. But yeah, it is okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I mean, it's based on a true story. We've listened to the case file.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
So, that premiered at the Hamptons International Film Festival on October 26, 2003. Budget of $500,000. Worldwide gross of $54 million.
Damn.
5.8 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Big movie.
Third movie.
Yeah,
I picked this one for you.
yeah,
Yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses.
yeah. Hell yeah.
That released April 11th, 2003. Budget of $7 million, gross of $16 million.
Had a budget of $7 million.
I know.
They're like, Rob Zombie, you've never done a movie in your entire life. $7 million. He probably like financed a lot of that himself.
Yeah, the old Shyamalan method.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
It's got a 6.0 out of 10.
It's a fucking good movie. I don't care what anybody says about Rob Zombie. That is a good fucking movie.
I think my big problem with it is that I saw Devil's Rejects first, and that's the objectively better movie.
It is, yeah, but I mean, like House of a Thousand Corpses is like more contained, and you get the introduction to those characters, and it's still good. And also, as
Rainn Wilson becomes some merman.
Exactly, you knew exactly what I was gonna say.
I know.
Yeah.
I've got some taglines.
Okay. Not good.
Inspired by a true story.
Yeah. Okay.
What you know about fear doesn't even come close.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not the worst I've heard. We're above Hellraiser 2 right here.
You want scary? This is scary.
I feel like that was the pitch that they did. Like when they're like, all right, let's do the Texas Chainsaw remake.
Dude, I just want to hear Arlie Ermy.
Ermy, yeah.
Saying
Is that how you say his name?
I guess so, because that's how it's spelled.
Yeah, isn't it Emery?
It says Army.
Okay. I always thought it was Emery.
Unless I wrote it down wrong, but I don't think I did.
You want me to pause?
No, this is going to take 2 seconds. For those of you who don't know, he is very memorable. He got his start in acting with Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, he's the drill instructor.
Yeah, he overheard, he was working on the set, and he overheard like the first take of this, and he was like, no, that's not how it goes. Because he was actually,
he's got a very scary, commanding voice.
Yes. Ermy.
All right, Ermy. Pardon me, Ermy. I thought you were Emery.
Okay. If it's terror what you want, it's terror what you'll have.
I like that.
I like that's a little folksy.
Yeah, that I kind of read that as the cook saying that.
Okay. I have some fun facts.
Okay.
So this was the first film produced by Platinum Dunes. Now, if you are not aware, Platinum Dunes is Michael Bay's horror thriller production company, and this was the first one that it did in the start of chain of horror movie remakes in the 2000s. So they also did like Amityville Horror, a bunch of other ones. That was the one they did next. That was Amityville Horror, and they had some like crew crossover with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was funny when we were talking about like, all the remakes of the 2003, and I was like, well, it's actually
I think
started with this.
I think they also did the Friday the 13th one.
Yes, they did. They did.
The only reason I remember that is because Michael Bay walked out of it because there was too much nudity. He was so ashamed of it.
Michael Bay, come on, man.
Not enough explosions, too much nudity.
I think it was the right balance.
No.
So in 1998, Unipix Entertainment actually had the rights to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and they had begun pre-production for a 5th installment, tentatively called TX-25. All I can imagine is like a Terminator-style movie. But,
that sounds like a Terminator movie or a racing game on the Nintendo 64.
Oh my god. But it's like one of the crappy racing games that you play and you're like, well, we can say we played it one time.
But you would be nostalgic for it when you grow up. You go, oh, that game was fucking awesome.
However, they clearly didn't get to the point of production, and by 2002, they had let their rights expire. So that's how Platinum Dunes came to pick them up. Early announcement was that Marilyn Burns was going to be reprising her role, and she was going to be telling the story in flashbacks.
Oh, that could have been interesting.
Yeah, so that was their original plan. When they brought Nispel on as the director, he thought it was absolute blasphemy to remake this movie. However, his director of photography, Daniel Pearl, convinced him to do it. Daniel Pearl, you may or may not recognize that name, but he was also the director of photography in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Yes, and he said he wanted to bookend his career with Texas Chainsaw movies.
That is awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's going to convince you to do it, that's a guy to do it right there. If not, Toby Hooper, which I think he had died at this point.
No, actually, Hooper and Henkel did start to work on a new script.
Whoa.
The details of it weren't completely clear at this time, but eventually they did bring on Kosar to do the actual script.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
And that was actually Kosar's first professional script writing job. And
Man,
then he did the Amityville Horror after this.
That's tough, man.
Yeah. Principal photography was in Austin. It took about 40 days. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give some credit. So, Nespel said blasphemy to remake Texas Chainsaw, but then he wanted to go ahead and shoot it in California. You know who convinced him to shoot it in Texas?
Toby.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
That doesn't. I feel like he'd be like, no, you need to go in L.A., bro. The explosion potential out there off the charts.
So I guess I'm just learning to maybe not have such a stereotype about Michael Bay based on the Transformers movies.
He's not. He's not a bad director. Honestly, he's pretty solid. He just has his style, and he does it well.
He does. I'm a little bit miffed about the whole thing with Megan Fox, but you know,
he's not perfect. He's got his flaws, that's for sure.
Okay, so Briniarski, Leatherface.
Yes.
He did his own stunts.
Really?
He did his own stunts, and he is already a very large man, about 300 pounds. He was still forced to wear a beginning suit, which brought him up to about 420 pounds.
Damn.
And obviously, it's in Texas. Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
So they were very hot. He had to be very thoroughly hydrated. I'm very glad at the pains they took to keep him safe, at least.
He wasn't the first one, though, was he? Did you get anything on that?
No.
So I don't think he was the actual first pick for Leatherface. We've been to some of the panels.
Oh yeah.
We went to the Leatherface panel at the last Texas Chainsaw.
Fest.
There's this one guy. God, I can't remember his name. It starts with a B. But he claims to be Leatherface from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I remember he was talking about it. Not the original, the remake. And he was going to be doing the part, but he ended up having a heat stroke or something.
Oh shit.
So he was unable to do the movie. Let me look him up real quick.
Okay. While you're looking that up, I have one more fun fact. And that's that John Larroquette reprised his role doing the narration. So that is the same
That sounded
narrator.
familiar, yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. I had to pull it up. I'm on the Wikipedia page, so I'm going to read it directly from that. But yeah, the guy that played Leatherface had to be brought in after the first guy. He starred in base Pearl Harbor and stayed friends with him afterwards, so that's how he got the role in this.
Okay.
The other guy, Brett Wagner, who was originally going to be Leatherface, was cast, but on the first day he was hospitalized and fired for lying about his physical abilities.
Oh no.
He's went on to talk about this many times. I think that he says that there's more to the story than that. I remember he shared a little bit of insight on that when he did the panel. I just can't remember exactly what he said. But,
yeah.
A lot of people like him. He seems to be a fan favorite at conventions.
He does a lot of prop making.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He seems like a cool guy. He's always been nice anytime that we've done the rounds for that stuff.
Yeah,
there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's that.
All
We're
right.
on to talk about our good, bad, ugly, and absurd.
So my goods for this. Yeah. So as a guy that feels that not everything needs to be remade, I share that sentiment too. I do feel like this is one of the better remakes out there. I think that it does its own thing. It is a very different movie from the first Texas Chainsaw, which if they tried to make it beat for beat exactly like Tobe Hooper's, then I think I'd have a problem with it. But this movie is an entirely different movie. They even do new characters, which I'm not even really I like some of the new characters, but I don't like some of the changes.
I think that's really interesting because the first movie was really playing on a lot of cultural happenings. We're talking about violence in the media, poverty, mass layoffs, things like that. And I think in 2003, a lot of what was happening right now was, we had just had 9/11. So we were having a surge of patriotism happening. We had our own war going on. I think it's really interesting that they didn't seem to address that stuff as much in the same way.
Well, I think they tackle that more in the next one.
Yes, absolutely. In the next one, which is a sequel to this, but it's technically a prequel to this.
Yeah.
This is where it really starts to fucking lose me, people.
Yeah, I think that this one, it didn't do the messaging that the first one did, and that some of the other ones did. I think it really just set out to make a horror movie. I think it just set out to make another Texas Chainsaw movie and make it scary, and that's what they did. They did a really good job with it. I think that everything Like the Leatherface that we have here is a very good Leatherface. It's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part though is the addition of the sheriff. He is such a good character for this right here. Like normally with Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, I don't give a fuck about the surrounding family. I care about Leatherface, but I think in this movie he steals the show.
Oh, the scenes with him 100% are the scariest scenes in the movie for me.
Like Ermi, fucking like crazy. He
Yeah.
is scary. He is intimidating when he uses that voice. Like I don't have to act if I'm on that set and
Yeah.
he's over there like ordering me to like imitate the, her shooting herself. Yeah, man, like he's just so fucking intimidating, and I thought that really set this movie apart from all the other ones there. But then on top of that, the Leatherface is fucking amazing too. Like, the mask is okay. Like it could be better, but I think that they did a good job, all things considered. But like the part when he actually gets Kemp's face and puts it on,
yeah, and
that
then,
was good.
And then Aaron's reveal, like to find out how like that Kemp is actually dead when he's like killing Pepper, and then he turns around and looks,
Just
and
his
she's
face,
like, "Oh shit!"
It's so fucking good. Yeah, God, man, there's a lot of stuff that's good about it. Like I also like that it isn't as slow to start as the original one was. The original, like, kind of did that transition from documentary and then into a horror movie slowly. But this movie's like, we are full on horror. Like, we're going to like start it off like, here's the thing that happened. We're going to show you some documentary footage. But then here's the shit that went down.
For some reason in my head, I always get it mixed up that this documentary style thing happens in the original. Like the shot of the like gouged nail marks
like the photos
on the walls.
Yeah, you're getting like all the photos and stuff like that. Yeah, man, like I don't know, this movie, it is a really good remake.
I think in terms of just like a horror movie, I think it does like the horror things well. Like I said, I think part of one of the big things of why Texas Chainsaw Massacre is such a long-lasting movie that a lot of people will quote as a classic is because it did touch on a lot of our actual real fears at the time. And this, it didn't do that quite as much, but it still, tried to deliver on other scary things.
I mean, I like that they're like, let's just make it a fucking horror movie. Like the other one, it had a good message. Don't want to like fuck with that message.
Yeah.
Don't want to like.
I'm not saying fuck with the message. I'm just saying like there was plenty to work with at the time. Although I guess if you wanted to try and be critical of like the patriotism and nationalism that was happening, that might have been tricky waters in 2003.
Yeah, the landscape might not have been ready for that. Maybe like the following year, they're like, all right, fuck this shit. Like, this is not really going too great right now. I'm not super hot. Yeah. Okay. What were your goods?
I do think that it, like, the story has pretty good pacing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the end maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a sucker for this trope, but, like, when one person in a couple dies and we find out, oh man,
they
he
were
was
gonna
propose.
Yeah,
like, that gets me every time. It's the romantic sap in me.
My favorite part about that is he was gonna propose at Skinner's show,
and I bet, and not due to a love of irony, that this man was gonna propose during Freebird.
Yeah, yeah, totally. During the solo, holy shit, he's gonna get down on one knee. Man.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, it has some very memorable moments for it. And I saw this close to when it came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it streaming somewhere. And it stuck with me.
Is it memorable enough for you to be able to tell it apart on your own?
Absolutely not.
Still no?
Absolutely not.
Come on, man. Look, you're not the only one that had confusion with this. When I did the call for reviews, Horde Zombie, not calling you out, buddy, but kind of.
No, we're in this together.
He did the same thing that you did, because like he's like, oh yeah, that's the one with the cousin, right? I think I like that one. And I'm like, no, that's
do your thing, cousin.
Yeah.
That's what we call that one in this house.
That's Texas Chainsaw, not to be confused with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, it's so batshit crazy.
And
man.
every
They fucked it
time
up.
Travis asks me if I want to watch the remake or the prequel, and I'm like, which one's which? And He says the remake came first, which I understand it has to for a prequel to be a prequel, but that's still fucking confusing. And then I say, which one's the one where the blonde guy gets his leg cut off? That's how I remember this one.
Yeah, that's this one right here. Yeah.
So, this is confused. The next one's the one. The next one's the one is the prequel, but it's the draft dodging.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. This one right here, I would almost call it the one with the bed sheets, because it's like when he's like running through the bed sheets right there. There was like somebody did a whole thing about how that was physically impossible for him to be able to catch up to him and cut off his leg during that scene. Somebody broke it down. Like it was like they did the math subreddit.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it's improbable.
I'm really more impressed at whoever hung out all of that laundry in that
house.
Absurd layout. Who does laundry in that house, actually?
Maybe Leatherface. Leatherface seems like a tidy guy.
Anyway, what's your bad?
Sorry, you're right. We're going,
yeah, we're getting way off track.
My bad with this movie is I didn't see the need to fuck with the names. That only further adds to the confusion, because now we have different names for Leatherface. He's no longer like Bubba Sawyer or anything like that. He's now
Thomas Hewitt.
Thomas Hewitt.
Thomas Brown Hewitt.
And I don't know. It just like it confuses. I just didn't see that as a thing that needed to be done. I also agree with you. I feel like the ending does kind of like go on a little bit too long. Like it could have ended several times, but it continues to just like still go. But it's not like a long movie or anything. I just feel like they needed to do something else. I do appreciate they didn't do like a dinner scene though.
Yes.
They almost went for it, but they didn't.
I'm glad they didn't. Although I could have also done without her being in his pantsless lap.
Yeah, I could have done without that too.
It's a little uncomfortable, but I think the ending just goes on a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
I get that we wanted to get, this whole town is family, they're all in it, and but did we really need the baby stealing plot?
I don't think it's the whole town's family.
Did we need the tea ladies? I mean, that's all we've seen in the town.
I think that's the family. It's like an extended family living next.
I know, but I'm just saying those are the only people we've seen.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's town. I just feel like we could have maybe chopped about 10 to 15 minutes off this movie and it wouldn't have suffered.
I think the part that gets me the most is when she runs and she goes into the trailer of like the two women and the baby, and that part right there, I think it takes it to a halt right there.
Yeah.
And that's like right off the heels of a chase scene, and it just like it was kind of whiplash how slowed down we get right there.
And it really feels like those ladies were put in there to kind of be like, oh, he's got a skin disease, which we would have gotten that later when Mama was saying like, oh, I know your type. You make fun of my sweet boy.
I think we got it even before that when he took the mask off and saw that he had a skin disease.
Yeah, but Aaron didn't know that.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I don't know. We could have cut some things off and it would have been fine.
Like Leatherface.
Oh my god. What's your ugly?
The ugly for this, the thing that grossed me out the most was when they first make it to the gas station and they look at the meat that's there on display and it's just swarmed with flies. And it's not even like prepared meat, it's just like chopped up pigs. Like you can see the pig head just sitting there. It's just such a fucking disgusting display.
It's moments like that make me really glad I'm vegan.
Yeah. Also, I mean, obviously, like the sheriff, he's not really a sheriff, but like the abuse of power there and how everybody has to like feel like they have to comply with it just because of the authority and the badge and all that shit. And yeah, you know.
I'm gonna add on to that the sheriff's necrophilia.
Yeah.
Talking about squeezing the boobies and buttocks of bodies. That's gross.
Yeah, he's nasty.
Ugh, I didn't care for that. And making Morgan sit in the blood and reenact the whole thing. It's just so fucked up. He has to like
scoot over the brain matter on the seat.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nasty, but it's so good.
Yeah.
That's part of why this movie is so fucking good.
Ugh. Okay, absurd.
So at the beginning, we get the hitchhiker, which I think she's actually part of the family, is what we learn, right?
No, her family was on vacation. They all died except for her and the baby.
Okay.
The baby was stolen. That's why Aaron said you stole her.
Right. Okay. That's right. Okay. Well, the thing that's weird about that is, so they're driving and they see her walking and they pick her up, and then they continue going the same way that they were driving, the way that she was walking. But as they're driving, she's like, "No, you're going the wrong way, the wrong way." So she was walking back towards the family the entire time.
Poor thing is probably really dehydrated and messed up.
Well, how's she gonna know? How's she gonna know? I just thought it was like really stupid. I feel like they could have done that a little bit differently. Also, the fact that Kemp, he really wants you to know who the fuck he is because he has a shirt with the name tag that says Kemp on it. Mm-hmm. He's got the K on the hat there, K for Kemp. Mm-hmm. It took me a minute to figure out, I was like, what's that K for? Like, where's that from? And then I saw the name tag. I was like, Kemp. Okay, he's definitely trying to make it clear he is Kemp.
That reminds me of at Comic-Con this year when we did a meetup with all the other Twilight cosplayers, and all of us happened to choose the baseball scene.
That's the one you do if you're going to do that.
But all of the Rosalies had grabbed hats with a G, and they were like, we didn't realize that it was a C. And we're like, yeah, C for colon. And they were like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a G. I can understand the confusion. Man, yeah. All right, what was your absurd?
Okay, I know I said that we could chop this scene off, but it did give me an absurd moment when the woman who stole the baby clearly didn't do any research on how to take care of a baby, because when the baby starts crying, she just goes and grabs a can of baked beans from the fridge.
Oh my god, yeah. That right there kind of also feels like a southern, like, old, like, oh, this is how you cure a baby crying. Just give him a can of beans.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah. You don't even like feed it to me, just shake it in front of them. I'm like, oh, okay. There's something about the bean juice, man. It does it. It soothes the baby soul.
Hey, man, I'm a person that I don't rinse my beans whenever I put them in anything. The bean juice goes with it.
That sounds disgusting. All right, cool. So let's do some rating.
Okay.
This is one, I feel really good about this one. I really don't have much bad to say about it. That's impressive. I think the fact that you do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie remake and you don't fuck it up, you get extra points because of that. So I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Wow, really? You don't think it's that great?
I don't think it's bad. 7's a good score.
No, but that's why I said great. You don't think it's that great?
No.
I think it's fucking awesome.
I think it's good.
It stands up there at the top of the series, I think.
Look, our average is 8.25, okay?
Okay. I can live with that.
You're gonna have to.
I suppose. All right, let's do this.
So we start off with some grainy crime scene footage over top of the opening narration, and we actually get crime scene walkthrough. And, you know, the John, what's his name? John Larroquette tells us that there's like over 300 pieces of evidence, but the most compelling for the jury, is this walkthrough footage that we're about to watch.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw this in theaters. I bought in. I was like, this is real. Like, I actually thought that this was real whenever I was watching it.
I will give you some leeway because you were 11.
That's still kind of stupid for an 11-year-old, but okay.
I mean, I could see 32-year-old Travis going, is this real?
Man, like, it was so convincing. He did a great job. All right, so we get some Skinner and good times here. They're over there.
August 18th, 1973. They got a Skinner travel montage.
Man, it's Skinner traveling. They're on their way back from Mexico. Mm-hmm. I guess that they were just doing like a little vacation situation there. Now they're on their way to Skinnerd.
Yeah, we've got Andy and Pepper making out in the back seat. Morgan is cheering them on.
We were deciding between ourselves. Is Morgan supposed to be the Frank of this movie?
I think he is.
I don't think he is. I think that this movie is without Frank. It has no Frank.
Okay, clearly you like Franklin since you've decided to nickname him Frank.
I did. Why did I do that?
It's like Eric when he calls Christian Chris.
Yeah, why did I call him Frank? Man, God, I see. That's the thing. If Franklin thinks that you're his friend, he's gonna just like what's that? Hermit. He's gonna hermit onto you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Barnacle.
Barnacle. Yeah, he's gonna barnacle onto you.
No, I think the problem is also that there's not a Jonathan Tucker character that we see that we don't end up making fun of. So I think Morgan is part of this.
It's my favorite one of his, though. This is my favorite character he does.
Oh, we're gonna talk about my favorite one later.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. So, yeah, they're over there. They're having a good time. One of them, I think it's Morgan. He has a joint going, and they're passing it around. Aaron has to be a buzzkill though and tosses it out.
She did not consent to it in the car. She just wants to be straight edge.
No, she was just doing it because she was pissed off at Kemp because he was being a funny man. Anyways, it doesn't matter. They're having a good time. They're all they're laughing along.
She says that she's feeling kind of nauseous, and then this is when the whole argument over the joint happens, and he was like, well, what do you think we were going to do for 4 days in Mexico? And she goes, well, I thought it would involve a proposal. They've been together 3 years, we find out, so that's, at this age, that's a reasonable amount of time to expect a proposal within.
Yeah, I don't know how old they're supposed to be though. I feel like they're college age.
Yeah, I mean, they early 20s.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Morgan accidentally spills the beans, though, that they were also down there smuggling pot from Mexico.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge, which in this case, a smidge is an entire pinata's worth.
Pablo Chacon.
Yep, and then they're driving down the road, and oh my God, there's a woman in the road, so they have to swerve out of the way.
Decent evasive maneuvering.
And the fact they didn't flip his van is impressive.
Yeah. So they stop, and Aaron is like, hey, we need to go check on her. And they're like, no, let's keep driving. And she's like, what? No. I think this is part of the problem for me, is that Aaron's the only one who seems to care about literally anybody.
Yeah.
But they give her all of, like, the moral authority, and it comes across with her being, like, uptight. So it's just a weirdly balanced dynamic in the group.
Yeah, I think it's like she's the responsible one, but she's like a responsible one full of like people that have they don't want to be responsible.
Yeah, and the things that she's saying are reasonable, but because everybody else is like, oh man, we're just having fun. It's like how people complain about Skylar White. Like, she's no fun. She stops Walter from selling meth. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to be... Okay, I'm sorry to go off topic again. I'm going to be honest. My first watch through Breaking Bad, I was not a fan of Skylar. But then all the other times, I'm like, yeah, I fucking get it, Skylar. Walter fucking sucks. He is a shit. He's a shitbag.
Yeah, so I think it's just a weird dynamic with how these characters.
No, I totally get it.
But Aaron does the right thing and sees this woman is not okay, and she's like, "Hey, we gotta get her somewhere."
Yeah, I also like this that the hitchhiker's different too. I feel like this is a good way to do the hitchhiker. It's like a victim that's escaped, and she's just so beyond the point of being able to like comprehend or process anything. She's just like saying nothing.
And it's gonna be good because it'll come around full circle at the end when Aaron gets picked up by the truck driver.
Yeah.
And she's in the same kind of place where she's like, I just want to go home. And then she sees that they're going back into town, and she's like, no.
So yeah, they're driving, they're trying to get some information out of her, but she just keeps telling them they're going the wrong way. So she pulls out a gun that she has hidden in her skirt, and she just puts it right in her mouth, and boom. And it's a cool shot where they do like the shot where it goes like right through her head out the back of the van.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just left in disbelief.
So they're sitting outside, like they pull over, obviously. They're all freaking out. They're trying to figure out what they should do next. Like, Morgan's like, we can't call the cops. We have 2 pounds of marijuana. So Kemper takes the pinata and just tosses it.
Yeah. So yeah, they're deciding what they're gonna do, and then they decide, fuck it.
Oh no, we have to talk about this transition because Pepper's like, I don't care what we do, but I can tell you there is no way, no how, I'm never getting back in that van. And it cuts to them all back in the van.
God, can you imagine driving in there with that body right there? Oh man, it's so.
But it's
nasty.
also one of those things that like I was sitting there and I was like, well, fuck, what do you do in that situation? Like this was before cell phones. And they're not anywhere near, like, a payphone or anything. Like, they have to get to a place where they can call somebody.
Yeah, but do you keep the body with you? This is the thing.
It feels disrespectful to just, like, yeet her out on the side of the road.
Yeah, but she's dead at that point.
And the van is fucked either way.
It is, yeah, but you don't have to, like, suffer additional suffering.
But then we don't get to hear Andy say that blown out brains looks kind of like lasagna.
Dude, yeah, not the best time to do that. All right, so they pull into the gas station, and they go inside to call the cops, and then they get this lady that's working the store, and she's being kind of the harbinger for them right there. She's kind of speaking like weird nonsense.
She's not even being the harbinger. She just like can't be asked to do any of this.
Yeah.
She's like, I guess I'll call the sheriff, and she's like, all right, he'll meet you in about 2 hours. And they're like, what? And she goes, oh, he'll be at the old Crawford Mill. And they're like, where is that? And she's like, y'all need to go.
Yeah, get out. All right, so they end up driving to the old Crawford Mill.
I guess it helps when there's like 4 buildings in this town.
Yeah, the one with the windmill.
Yeah.
You know, or like a silo. Probably that one.
Yeah, silos and windmills are very different things.
Yeah, but, you know, one's a mill and one's a silo. You see the mill, windmill.
A mill is like a granary.
I know. But like a windmill, it's like part of farm imagery. Like that's like a standard thing that you think of when you think of a farm, right?
No.
You don't think of that?
No.
I do.
You've seen where I'm from. There's tons of silos, very few windmills.
All right, I guess you're closer to this than I am. So they arrive there, and the sheriff is not there. So they decide that
they're arguing if they should just yeet her out here.
Yeah, they're voting it.
We've got a 3-hour drive to get to Skinnerd. These tickets are very expensive.
Dude, that priorities.
And then Aaron again is like, this is somebody's daughter. Like, this was a human person. Somebody's worried about her.
The thing is, though, they've called the cops. The cop knows where they're going to be. Dump the body there. They've got all the information already. That's all you need. But, you know, whatever. Like, I can understand it. But
girl dad details later.
Yeah. They're voting on it, but as they're voting on it, they see like something in the building. And Erin decides that she's going to go investigate it. So she goes to look, and she screams because she hears something in a building. Everybody goes to go see her. And then they open the door, and it's a possum.
Well, you should scream at a possum.
I like the possum was screaming
back. The possum was
screaming
back,
yeah. Like, ah, this is my house.
I feel like I get why the possum is affronted, but like...
It really did look like that possum was like, get out of my home. Home invasion.
Listen, I am on two people's side in this movie, and that's Leatherface and the possum.
And then after all that happens, little boy shows up. Jedediah.
Which eventually becomes one of the names in one of these movies for
yeah, again. It's so confusing. And
is this like a 007 situation?
Where anybody could be Leatherface?
Yeah.
That's actually something that could be true, but I think it's always supposed to be the same person.
Well, it's not.
No, it's not. They've made that very clear. So the kid is like, the sheriff, I know where he's at. He's off at home. He's getting drunk right now. So like, all right, well, if the sheriff doesn't fucking care, then why should we care?
And then Aaron's like, no, we'll just go find the sheriff. So Aaron and Kemper walk to find the sheriff while everybody else stays with the van. They get to a house, and the man outside is like, do I look like the sheriff? He... is a double amputee,
yeah.
So he is not the sheriff, but he lets Erin inside to use the phone. She calls him, and he says he'll be there in about 30 minutes. Meanwhile, we see the sheriff arriving at the mill.
Mm-hmm. And I like the little boy there, little Jedediah. He's over there poking at the body with a stick. Like, get the fuck out of here, you little freak.
Like, who is this mill boy?
I like this kid. This kid's good.
While they're... Okay. We'll talk about the house, and then we'll talk about
it cuts
the
back and
mill.
forth.
Yeah, I don't want to cut back and forth talking about it because it
Yeah.
gets confusing. So at the house, Erin makes her call. Everything's good. She's about to leave, and then the old man asks her for some help. He tumbled himself out of his chair. Listen, I'm not one to doubt his real distress, his real needs, his real abilities, but I feel like he wouldn't have done this if Aaron wasn't in the house and he wasn't trying to cop a feel.
No, that was entirely what it was for. I think it was also a distraction because as he's doing that, he's like looking to his side and Leatherface walks through the hallway. And then as Leatherface does that, we see Kemp, who's getting impatient outside. Mm-hmm. He goes inside to look for Aaron.
Oh, Kemp getting impatient. Go figure.
See, it's a big house, but big tall, not big wide. Like, she would hear him.
Yeah.
He would hear her. He would hear all the things going on there, but he's wandering through the house.
It's like one of those houses where it's like all of the rooms are connected, so you can just go in a big circle.
Yeah, but like they can't hear each other, so he's like calling out for her, and he's
the
investigating.
acoustics in this building are really weird.
It's all the skeletons and bones and shit in there. It really fucks with the acoustics.
The human hides hanging up.
Yeah, it really is bad for that. And he ends up finding this room that's just playing like old school cartoons. And I love the way that this is done because it's like the little like drum roll from the cartoon. And as that's happening, Leatherface comes up from behind, boom, sledgehammer to the head, and drags him to his secret lair. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah. The sheriff is making the trio help saran wrap the body of this girl.
Man, yeah, like that right there. I know it's Texas, but like, come on, man. Like, that is a tell that this is not a legit dude.
Yeah, it feels so sketchy. He's like, nobody respects the dead more than I do. And he says that, and as Morgan and Andy are trying to put the body in the back seat of the car, he goes, no, not in the back seat, put it in the trunk.
It's like, don't you fucking ruin my car. It's so fucking funny. Dude, his delivery is so good on everything he does.
So Erin walks back through the woods. She's looking for Kemp, but she can't find him because he is being used for arts and crafts.
Yep.
She gets back and she tells them that the sheriff is on the way, and they're like, well, no, he actually already came. And she goes, well, then where's Kemper? And they're like, is he not with you? So she's a little bit freaked out, and she wants to go try and find him, but then they're from the distance hearing a horn in a car. In the midst of a car graveyard. Mm-hmm. And Andy they're walking around, they're trying to figure out what it is. The horn has been like propped up to blare.
Yeah.
They're not finding this suspicious at all.
That's a trap.
They should.
That's always a trap.
Especially when Andy looks down and finds teeth.
Oh.
Teeth!
Yeah. And I mean, that right there gets him a little bit more freaked out. But
not Morgan. No. Morgan got plentifully stoned before all of this and did not sober up through the pure shock of watching a woman shoot herself. No, because he pretends to have his arm.
I think he probably thinks this is all part of the trip. He's like, I'm going to snap off and I'm going to be at Skinnerd. It's going to be awesome.
He's like, this is really intense weed.
Yeah.
Normally you don't hallucinate this way, but...
Yeah, he like digs in the car and he pulls out this jar and it has these pictures of
the girl from the van, which she is Beth in Hostel Part 2.
Oh yeah,
if anybody's
right.
thinking she looks familiar. And then on the other side is her family, which includes a little boy.
Yeah.
So we see Kemp in the basement of the house, and he is being hoisted up upside down, and a little velveteen black box falls out of his pocket.
Oh.
It fell out of his pocket pretty easily. I'm very concerned that he was just wandering through the woods with that thing.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
It was like, and it's a beautiful ring, too. He definitely spent a pretty penny on it.
He did, yeah. Yeah, it's a sad thing.
Yeah.
She never knows that, does she? She never sees the ring later either,
she
too.
dies thinking that, or he dies with her thinking that he didn't want to commit.
Yeah, God.
Yeah. Erin says that they need to go back to the house to look for Kemper. So her and Andy go out there, and Andy is going to sneak in while Erin distracts the man.
Yeah, Morgan and Pepper are really fed up with it. They're wanting to go, but...
Erin takes the keys.
Yeah, so they all go back to the van just to hang out. So, yeah, they're back at the house.
Erin talks to the man, and then Andy sneaks in, and he's looking around, and there's this scene. I think it's in the kitchen, and there's like all of these hunks of meat hanging from the ceiling in one pair of pantyhose. I love that. Okay, so laundry is clearly happening, but the pantyhose, the unmentionables, have to hang in the kitchen. Those can't be outside in the laundry where God and everybody can see
That's
it.
probably where Leatherface does his. That's part of his Pretty Woman outfit there, probably. Yeah, so he's in there looking around, and he ends up accidentally making a sound.
He knocks over a big ass cooler, so it's a loud sound. And Erin runs in, and then the man is like following in. He's yelling, and they're like, "Listen, we're just looking for Kemper, and you can't stop us." And he goes, "Oh, you don't even know what you did." And he takes his cane, and he is
like, "Come on, get him, boy! Come get it!"
And he does.
God, that was a good scene. The first time I saw that as a kid, holy shit, that fucking freaked me out. Like, this is a good way to do this right here, because he charges out with a chainsaw, and I like that Andy has the tire iron, and he's like using that as like a defense against the chainsaw right there.
They're fighting, and eventually they both run out. They get split up. Andy is running through the laundry, and Leatherface
swoops through the sheets and cuts off his leg as he's running away. So he takes him, drags him down to his lair.
And then this is where we see the fingernails come off his
Oh,
hands.
yeah. Holy fucking shit. I hate that so much.
I hate that, but it also, like, that's one of those things that it sticks with me because that's, like, the desperation to not die.
That was the thing at the beginning of the movie, too.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's like, all right, there's an embedded fingernail right here.
So Erin runs, and she gets back to the van. She is panicking. The van won't start, and Pepper and Morgan are like, yo, what happened?
They were cleaning the van of the crime area there. They were cleaning up like body parts, which that's good. I think that they realized, you know what, we were kind of being dicks. Let's like actually do something nice and clean up his van for him.
Yeah. So the sheriff appears, and it's like, why are you back here? Seems kind of fishy. He does not give one flying fuck about what Erin's saying about somebody dying, because he sees on the dashboard a joint.
Yep, that's the worst thing you could do ever.
Maybe there's some social commentary in that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yes. Who gives a fuck about murder? You got a joint. Fuck you. You're going down. He orders everybody out of the van and makes them go face first onto the ground.
This is such a scary scene.
Yeah, it is.
This scene is probably one of the most tense scenes for me in the whole movie.
Yeah, and he's not listening. And then he's like, all right, Morgan, you stand up. Get in the van over there. I need you to reenact the shot right there because I need to see how it exactly went down. So he makes him get in the back of the van, sit exactly where she shot herself, which still has like guts and brain matter all over the place there.
And he makes him take the gun, stick it in his mouth, and act like he's going to pull the trigger. But Erin makes a sound. She gets up and she's like starting to argue. And in that moment of distraction, Morgan takes the gun, flips around on the sheriff. He pulls the trigger. The gun's not loaded. But the sheriff takes that as like, oh, you killed the sheriff this time and you're going down. Meanwhile, we see Andy being placed on a meat hook, and his stump is getting, I mean, they're seasoning the meat.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, he's taking salt, and he just like, he patches up the leg with that right there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then he's making his Kemp mask.
Yeah, this is where he takes off his first face, which you get to see his actual face, which this is the only movie we've ever seen Leatherface's true face, I think.
It reminds me of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
you see the Phantom pick off his mask.
Yeah. So yeah, they're back over at the van with the sheriff. He takes the gun back from. No, he pulls his own gun on Morgan.
Yeah.
Except instead of shooting him, he pistol. No. Does he? Yeah,
no,
he pistol whips him.
He gets Morgan into his car.
Yeah.
And he is hitting him while he's driving. He knocks out some of his teeth.
Dude, he hits him with a fucking liquor bottle.
Yeah.
Bust. Those things are tough. Busting a liquor bottle on somebody's face is gonna do some damage.
Yeah, and in the tune of a few teeth, at the very least, and Morgan's glasses.
I like this though. He's like, "Hey, you like Skinner? Shit, I like them too. Look at that. We got something in common." And he busts his teeth. I was like, "Hey, we got something else in common now."
Yeah, he's got like a false bridge.
Yeah.
So Erin hotwires the van, and Pepper's like, "How'd you learn how to do that?" And she goes, "Oh, I was in juvie." And then as they're about to try and drive away, oh, here comes a chainsaw.
Yeah,
and
well, they drive, but as they're driving away, all of the wheels fall off. Like, how did that even happen?
Well, you see, Andy took the tire iron. And it has to be close enough to the van for the gravitational pull.
You're right.
So Leatherface starts attacking. He's very close to getting Erin, and Pepper runs. She's got no love for anybody else at this point. She's known these people less than 24 hours.
I have questions about that. Did she meet them in Mexico and then ride back with them? So did they traffic a woman?
No, I think she's American.
Okay, but still. I don't know.
It was easier.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, she's dead. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, she's dead. And like we have a slow motion scene of Leatherface looking back at Erin through Kemper's eye holes.
Yeah, that's sad. So she gets out of the van and starts running. We get a nice little chase scene here.
Yeah. And then she gets to this trailer, and there's two ladies in there, and they're like, oh, that little sweet boy, he'd never do anything to you. He's just a little sweet thing. It's a shame. People are kind of mean to him. He keeps to himself because he's got that skin disease. And Erin is being forced to drink tea, and she doesn't want to drink tea. She just wants to use the phone. And they're like, well, we don't have a phone. And she gets up, and she looks around, and she finds that girl's family photo.
Mm-hmm.
And she hears that baby crying, and she goes back there, and she's like, you stole that baby! And then we get this really cool scene, because the woman is on the phone.
Yeah.
And Erin's like, I thought you didn't have a phone. And then she starts to pass out. And she passes out, and we see the ceiling, and it gets a little fuzzy, and then we see the ceiling again, except it looks a little different, and Sheriff Hoyt is
Sitting
looking over her. And I like that as a transition
That was
scene.
a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're in the Sawyer house now. Well, not the Sawyer, the Hewitt house now.
Hewitt,
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, why would you change it?
Sawyer. I know. It's they blew it with Hewitt. I'm so sorry. Anyways, yeah, they're partying. They're waking her up. They're pouring liquor on her face and all that shit.
Yeah, the woman from the diner is there. She's Mama. Jedediah is also there. He's outside though. He is somebody's baby. We don't know if he's the sheriff's baby or Thomas Hewitt's baby.
I don't know, but I feel so bad for this kid. The kid's like, let me in. I'm like, no, you've been bad. You need to sleep out there with the dogs a little bit longer. Like, what the fuck? This kid's like 5.
Yeah. And then the woman says that Erin's kind has always been cruel to her boy.
And
then
so cruel to that kid.
Then she calls up Thomas Brown Hewitt, come get her. And he comes and gets her, and he throws her in the cellar.
Yeah.
And when she's down there, she finds Andy. And she tries to unhook him. It doesn't go well. He doesn't love it. He's like, that's not what I meant. They help me. And she was like, well, I can't sew your leg back on. He was like, fucking kill me. Kill me. Kill me.
She does it in the worst possible way. She does a stab to the gut. That's like a long bleed out situation right there. It's not gonna be, but he dies instantly. But that's not how that goes. Slit his throat or something.
Gone for the carotid.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, same thing. Yeah. Slit the throat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a lot quicker than what this guy had to go through, probably. Anyways, she moves on. And she goes further downstairs, and she finds Morgan in a tub. He's just kind of crouched in the fetal position.
He is very fucking confused.
He's very fucking confused, yeah. Because, he thinks it's going to be the sheriff fucking with him again or something.
Yeah.
And then, she touches him. He starts to flip out.
And she gets him out, and they start walking. Jedediah appears, and he's like, you know what? Fuck these people.
Yeah.
Come out.
I ain't sleeping with the dogs no more. You guys come with me.
Yeah.
You guys are my friends now.
We'll go sleep with my possum.
Yeah. Yeah. So he and Leatherface has been peeping through the floorboards up top. So he's seen all this, and he's like, all right, I got to step in now.
So he runs in, and he's chasing him, and he almost gets him, but Jedediah bats his hand, slows him down just enough. Erin and Morgan make it through the woods to this old abandoned house, and Leatherface gets in. They have enough time to hide a little bit, but Leatherface is moving around. He's listening for little sounds, and he hears Erin. He gets her, but Morgan comes out and fights. And Leatherface says, I've had enough of your shit. Morgan's still handcuffed, and he just hangs him up on the light fixture, which I call bullshit on that light fixture being able to hold Morgan's body weight. He's a skinny little guy, but he's still
a full-grown person. I love that. He's like, where's my hook at? This will do.
Yeah.
It's just like a chandelier.
He's like, you go here.
Yeah.
And then
he picks up a body. He's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Where's the hook? Somebody give me a hook right now.
I like to imagine he didn't even see the chandelier. That's just like muscle memory for him. He picks up a person and does the hanging motion.
It's like, I think you should leave. Yeah, I think you should leave. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what do I do?
Oh, I thought you were saying, come here, you little fuck.
A little bit of that too, yeah. Yeah, so he gets him there and he chainsaws him while he's up there. And that gives Erin a chance to run, yeah.
So she runs and she finds a meat factory, and Leatherface follows her in. This scene also could have been cut down a lot.
Yeah, this one really. Yeah, she goes in there and she's like hiding along the meat. What did you say? You said something about this yesterday.
Because she hid inside a cow's body, and I said, "Is that why it's called a cowhide?"
Yeah. God damn it. Yep.
See, I even
That
wrote
sets you up.
cowhide.
That was a good one. Yeah.
But she goes into this like locker room, which is not even really a locker room. It's like a high school hallway filled
It's
with
like,
lockers.
yeah.
And she's hiding in a locker, and Leatherface is making his way down, and she hits the locker, and at first you're like, what are you doing? And he comes up, and he hears shuffling in the locker, opens it up. It's a little piglet.
What if it was the possum again? It's like, ah!
And Leatherface, because you know what? Up until, like, Leatherface is only killing people that broke into his house.
Yeah, still.
Like Pepper is the only one who didn't break into his house. But before that, literally only people that's what it is.
I think it's still his property. They're still on his property right here. Yeah, he's going after them for that.
I mean, and this is what we've said in the original too. It was the same thing. Like, stop intruding.
He's a misunderstood boy.
Texas is a stand your ground state.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully he doesn't kill the pig, but Aaron takes this opportunity to get out there. I like this approach. She's got a cleaver, and she just chops his fucking arm off.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And this is the one with the chainsaw.
It makes it a lot, it makes it a lot harder to use a chainsaw if you've only got one arm.
I like that because he like tries to pick it up and he's trying to shake his arm off, but his hand has such a good grip on it that he can't get it loose.
She runs out and, it's raining. She flags down a semi and the driver gets her in the truck, and basically a repeat of when they picked up the girl from the beginning, except he is like, all right, cool. We're going to stop right here at this house, and I'm going to go in and talk to these people. And, of course, it's the Hewitt house.
I think it's a gas station.
Maybe it is the gas station. Whatever. Still their property.
Mm-hmm.
She gets out, and she hides around the other side. And the trucker's, like, trying to tell them, like, this girl is, like, babbling. She's not in a good way. We need to get her some help. So the sheriff goes out to look. Everybody else comes out to look. They leave the baby alone. Aaron runs in, grabs the baby, and she sneaks into a vehicle. And she's hot wiring it. And for some reason, I think they're filling this in a way that they want us to think that she snuck into the semi.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
But, like, a semi drives differently than a vehicle. And we already saw the sheriff's car. Like, I knew it was the sheriff's car.
I don't know how I didn't. I just see her hot wiring here. And that's the same in all vehicles to me because I don't know how to hot wire.
Well, you also thought this was a documentary. So.
I thought that this actually happened. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, we see the sheriff finds nobody in the truck, and then as he's making that discovery, wham, he gets hit by the cop car, and it's her, and she's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. Throws it in reverse over him again, and then back and drive, and then once more over him. So he's fucking dead.
And she's got the baby in a weird baby seat contraption.
Yeah, you got to do what you do.
Yeah.
I like this final bit right here. As she's driving, you're like, all right, everything's nice. Everything's good. And then as she's driving, boom, we get the chainsaw just sideswiping the car as she drives by, and it's just Leatherface. Just like, I'm not happy about it, but you did win this one.
Yeah. Like, he knows fair is fair.
Yeah. How's he still going? He has lost a shit ton of blood. He lost a whole ass limb.
He's been through a lot. They'll get some salt on it. They brine that shit. They eat it.
Man. And there we go. That's how the movie ends right there.
No, it's not. Because we cut back to the walkthrough video. Oh, it wasn't done because they get down to the bottom of the basement and the cops attacked by Leatherface.
Oh.
We found out that the Travis County Police Department did not properly secure the crime scene.
He was
Travis.
Well, what can I say? 2
officers were killed, and the image from that walkthrough is the only known image of the man known as Leatherface.
That is a good freeze frame on his face there. That is a great shot. That's a great way to end that movie right there. All right.
I will 7.5.
7.5. All right, cool.
I think we can make some edits.
Yeah.
And maybe give it a little bit more depth and balance with the characters.
Okay.
But
you're wanting purpose, right? You're wanting it to make a statement.
Yeah,
that's kind of a thing with the series. I get it.
Yes. And like I said, also I want balance with the characters. I don't want one moral person that we're like, okay, well, she's so obviously the final girl that it kind of fucking hurts. Like, and why is she friends with all of these people? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I could see that.
And you?
I'm keeping my 9.5.
All right. So new average 8.5.
All right, cool.
Talia, whew, she needed to go out. We hit play and she was like, I need to go out.
Yeah.
She came back and she stole Travis's seat.
Just to give you guys some context, she hasn't been feeling herself for the past few days, but like when we hit play on this is like when I think she started. She's now acting more like her actual self.
Yeah.
But like watching this movie brought her back to Talia levels right here.
Yeah. So she comes back and she stole Travis's seat.
Yeah.
They got to the mill and she farted. It was a defense fart.
Mhm.
And every time something would happen, like Leatherface would appear or a character would say something you knew would be trouble, she'd whip her head and stare at Travis like, did you fucking hear that?
She gave me the most shocked look one time. She's like, and anytime the sheriff would come on screen and be like,
so Talia, this is a 10 out of 10 for Talia. This
is tense.
Yeah.
That was a heavy ride for her right there. She thought it was real too. She's like, oh my God.
Guys, it's crime scene footage.
You know, I think what happened, we've been watching a lot of documentaries lately.
Yeah.
I think she's like, oh my God, guys, can you believe this? Damn.
Who is Zoe's ultimate warrior?
Jedediah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about that little kid gives me Zoe energy.
Yeah, I can see it. Zoe also gets kicked out of the bedroom when she's being really
That's true.
obnoxious
Yeah,
at
you need
night.
to stay out there with the dogs.
Who did you relate to?
I think I related to Kemp in this here because you're a responsible type person. But I also have those influences in my life that are much like his friends, like Morgan, where it's like, all right, let's do this fun, like irresponsible shit. And I feel like I'm like caught in the middle sometimes. Like I know I shouldn't be doing this, but like I kind of want to do this. But I know Jesse's over there; she's gonna remind me. You're the reminder. Like some of this stuff isn't worth it.
Are you saying this is how I remind you of who you really are?
Yes, this is how you nickelback me right here. That's not a knock on you because there's nothing wrong about being a responsible person. You need that sometimes. Sometimes I have some stupid friends that will have some very not good things to suggest, and you know that's just the reality of it there.
I related to a woman trying to feed the baby beans because what do you feed a baby? I don't know.
I don't know either. Beans is like a reasonable try.
I saw that and I was like, I feel like you're not supposed to feed a baby a can of beans, but I actually don't know what age they would be allowed to eat beans.
They're mushy.
You have to cut grapes in half?
I feel like a bean's an easier thing to eat than a grape.
But see, I don't feel that way, and this is why I feel like I shouldn't be allowed to feed children. Like, even yesterday at our niece's birthday party, I was like, can this one have this thing? And my sister would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have it.
That's a genuine question, yeah.
I don't know.
What can they have? Yeah, we don't know.
There's so many rules. Did you know they can't have honey before they're like a year old because they could get botulism?
Really?
Yes.
See, I wouldn't be doing that. Just like show up at the kid's birthday party. All right, I got the beans. Where do the beans go?
Pre-open them.
What the fuck are you doing with beans here? I don't know. I saw it in a movie. It's a documentary.
Okay.
All right.
We don't do dream sequel for our franchises.
But we name it. We name this one here.
Yes. The one where the blonde guy gets his leg cut off.
Is that what you want?
That's how I remember it.
I feel like the one that would really make if that's what works for you. But I always thought the thing that would make you remember it would be Morgan's actor.
No.
No, that doesn't. He looks so different in this movie than he does in anything else he does.
Yeah.
That like
I'm
fro
used to him
hair.
looking more like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he kind of does have a little bit of that look there. All right, the one where the blonde dude gets his leg cut off.
Yes, that's how I will personally
That's
remember
the title of a Friends episode right there.
Yes. Okay, and then we wanted to introduce a new segment we meant to do last week, but last week was fucked up, so whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So, because we had this argument talking about if Dom Toretto, like how he would defeat the Cenobites, and if he could defeat the Cenobites, and I said yes, obviously with family. So we wanted to introduce a new segment called "What Would Dom Do?"
What would Dom do? Yeah. So in this scenario, Dom Toretto is driving through Texas, and he has to stop at a gas station.
They're racing, right? They're racing. Sheriff Hoyt, don't take kindly to that. Yeah. He pulls him over, and he takes
Letty.
Is it Letty though? I think why can't I remember the character's name? Tyrese.
Tyrese, okay. Roman?
Yes, he takes Roman just because I think that gives us a chance to have some.
Wait, takes him where?
Takes him to the house.
No, Jesse. He takes Jesse. We'll tell you Jesse.
Jesse's back. Jesse's back.
Okay. He's been brought back to life. Yeah.
Because it's Remake Central, so we can do that. So yeah, he takes Jesse, and Dom and Letty are like, oh no, Jesse, sweet little Jesse, he can't be in the Hewitt house on himself. So that's when they call in The Rock. Like he's got to get.
So this is what Vin would do. He would call in The Rock. You think he calls in The Rock for help?
I think he calls him in because he's like, hey, Brian is no longer in the government. We need you to pull the records on this cop.
Okay.
So he has The Rock do that. He's not The Rock is not allowed on screen with him at this point.
So okay, let's get to the heart of this. What would Vin Diesel do to get out of this jam? What would Dom Toretto do to get out of this situation? He's got Jesse in the he's being held captive by the Hewitt family.
So they learn from The Rock that Sheriff Hoyt is not a real sheriff, and they're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. They've got a car on each side of the house.
Okay.
And they vroom, vroom, vroom. And they see which one the man comes out to first. And that one, that side of the house, that person drives up and circles around him. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And everybody else converges by the other entrances. And they get down into the basement. And they save Jesse just before he's hung up on the meat hook. And then on their way out, they also take Jedediah because little Brian needs a friend.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so all this happens. Their cars get fucked somehow. I don't know. They have like bone fragments all over the yard, so the tires are slashed. So they're out on foot now, and they got everybody, but they're running. They have to flag down the truck driver. Except Dom's not going to let the truck driver drive. He gets in the driver's seat, and then he somehow installs some nitro.
Who is on the roof of the truck?
Letty.
Okay.
Letty gets on the roof all the time.
At least one of them has to be,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. I like this.
And then he does some NOS. He goes NOS mode, and then he like NOSes off in the distance as Leatherface is on the road just as soon as Leatherface stands.
And he drives back. He drives so fast that Leatherface can't even like hit the truck with the chainsaw. The
it just, like, goes
force
through.
of it throws the chainsaw out of his hand.
Yeah. And that's how that goes. That's what Tom would do.
That's what Tom would do. All right, we'll get better at this segment as we go.
I like that though. We designed a whole movie right there. We did a crossover.
Okay.
I think we do reviews now.
Yes. We're doing reviews.
Wait, tagline.
Tagline, that's right.
Ooh, instead of I am the law, I am the saw.
Ooh, I like that.
I am the law and the saw.
No.
Okay, I am the saw.
Yeah, because that also ties into the Saw's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I've got a review from IMDb.
Okay.
This is 1 out of 10. Mean-spirited, wretched, and overrated.
Ooh.
I'm just going to read a snippet of it. It's a pretty long review.
Okay.
We're given one-dimensional characters with no motives, reason. Leatherface is stripped of any kind of real characterization. This is a soulless husk of a movie that equates sadism with horror, and unfortunately, this concept doesn't work. If we cared about the characters, what happened to them would seem horrific. Instead, it just seems cruel and mean-spirited, like kicking a dog. Horror is the emotional reaction we're going for. For a film that really seems like it's shooting to rise above the genre, it seems to be sinking quite well into the worst qualities of it. Here's an alleged arty film wherein the last half hour is spent trying to find ways to keep Jessica Biel's shirt wet, and so help me if you actually pay attention, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And these may be the most damning aspects of it. This film is dishonest from start to finish, not once respecting the viewer. It's an offensive geek show masquerading as serious horror film. The shoestring plot serves only to string unpleasant situations together, but it's shot as though they were going for something more. It's too haughty to be good exploitation and too cheap to be good horror.
Weird. Okay. I don't necessarily get that vibe from this. I get the impression that they thought that this was supposed to be like a bigger thing than what it really was trying to be. I really just think it was trying to be an entertaining horror movie, and I don't really think it was any more than that.
I didn't get the pretension from it that it's talking about, but I do see you know, some of that, if it had been trimmed down, if it had been edited a little bit, it wouldn't have seemed like it was just a bunch of mean scenes strung together. That would help with some of that.
And the thing is, it's not even that mean. I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, there's like the whole thing with her shooting herself and then having them like reenact it and shit like that. But like, I thought that was effective. Like, I thought that was a really well done moment in the movie. Like, having that character there, like, be like that. I didn't think it was crossing any lines or anything. Like, I thought that it was actually doing a really good job at being a horror movie. I thought it was scary. You know, like, this movie actually does, like, it makes you feel tense.
It does make you feel tense, but I do agree that maybe they could have done a little bit more to endear us to the characters.
I like the characters, but I think that they felt real. Like, they didn't need to be like these big like stereotypes or like, you know, character like types. Like, they were just real people going to a show, and that's that. Like, I think that was one of the things that I retained from the first movie, is that they're not anything special. They're just like a bunch of like 20-something-year-olds like living their life, and that's what happens sometimes. Like, shit like that happens.
Okay. All right. Do we have any listener reviews?
Yeah, we actually have quite a bit for this one right here. So thanks everybody for participating. So first off, we'll start with Johnny. Johnny says, this one pushed the camp's serious slider all the way to serious, which is fine, but I think it loses the charm the others had. This one felt more generic, and the only art direction was make everything brown. That's true. Yeah, it was a very very one tone,
very monotone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like the change from like camp to serious here. Like, I love camp in Texas Chainsaw, don't get me wrong, but if you want to go for an all serious one, I love that too, because that's how the first one started, even if it was meant to be a comedy too.
Yeah,
it just didn't really do a good job with the comedy.
And I kind of get what he's saying about generic, because that's how I feel about the characters.
I can get that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next up we have Jason, who says, I dig it. Gritty and takes itself seriously. For me, it's right up there with the original. 5 stars. Okay. All right, cool. Hey, somebody else also feels like it's like up there. It's really good. Marnie says, love it. Missing Real says, one of the better early 2000s remakes.
I will give it that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
in a sea, in what would become a sea of remakes, I think this one does pretty well.
It's up there at the top.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And you all already know our thoughts on the Friday remake.
Yeah. And finally, Michael Lee Howard says, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 is a lesson in how to make a great remake. At the time this came out, there was a resurgence of horror remakes. Marcus Nispel paid homage to the original while adding a new type of gritty. I felt sweaty and dirty watching this. That post-gunshot alone is perfect. Oh, that post-gunshot shot alone is perfection. I love this one. 8 out of 10.
Nice.
That shot right there sticks with me too. That's one of the most memorable parts of this movie. And yeah, I like the grittiness of this one. I like going back to serious. I like it. You know, I like the campiness, and don't worry, we go back to some camp here later on in the series. But like, I thought that this is a good balance right here.
Okay. All right.
Cool. All right. Thanks everybody for all the reviews. Really appreciate that.
That wraps us up.
Yeah.
Next week. Is it mine?
It might as well be, because I don't have my movie picked out yet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're going to do The Ruins.
Yeah.
I was talking about it at book club. Then we watched Jonathan Tucker. And I was like, fuck it. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. It's perfect for the summertime.
It's a good one. It's a fun movie, guys.
It's about some scampy vines.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also got the lamplighter. So be ready for that shit.
I'm pretty sure we did that the whole time on
Frozen
too.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
I'm sorry, guys. We can't help who we are. But be ready for that. I'm sure it's streaming. It's streaming in so many places all the time.
I will post a where to watch on Saturday or Sunday, as I usually do. I don't want to try and read it out loud right now because
it might be inaccurate.
rights roll over in the month. So just be sure to follow us on social media so you can see that. So you can find us on Instagram and Threads at Least Favorite Scary Movie Podcast, and BlueSky at Least Fav Pod. Our website is what's your least favorite scary movie.com, and you can email us at leastfavoritescarymovie@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we would like to shout out our bebbies on the Patreon. We have Joe,
Freakatron,
as is his name, Amber, Michael, Tyler, Chad, Horde Zombie, Jason, and Johnny.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you guys. We really, really appreciate you guys. And yeah, you know, if you are unable to do that, you can do other things to support the show. You can do things like liking us on whatever platform, rating us 5 stars, commenting, engaging, doing all of these things, sharing episodes with people. Everything, every little bit helps. Thanks everybody that does that, and we thank you in advance if you do that for us. So thanks for being around. Thanks for sticking with us on this one. Sorry for it being a little bit late, but we got it. And we will see you on next week's episode with The Ruins.
Yay!
And be on the lookout. We should have our Patreon episode out today, too. So happy
happy Return of the Living
Happy
Dead
Return of the Living
Day!
Dead Day! All right. Bye.
Bye!